such different answers from, you know, from different people. But in your mind, what is a hit? What is a classic?
I mean, I don't know if it, I think a classic is a song that people that had a certain amount of popularity and had an effect on people, and then many years later it still has that same effect. It's still around, and people still feel the same way that they felt when they heard it the first time, even if it's their first time hearing it, they feel the same way though the generation that heard it for the first time felt. So I think that is what constitutes a classic in terms of the fans, and
Yeah.
the people that's receiving the music. As one that makes music, I mean, I've certainly been blessed to have a couple of songs that I know are considered classics, but I can't tell you that going into create them, I knew that's what it would be. I
Yeah.
mean, sometimes you got a hot record, you got a single, you know what I mean, it's a radio hit or whatever, but I can't tell you that I ever know, oh, this is going to be around, it's a blessing though.
Did you ever have one that did turn out like that, and you never thought it? Because sometimes you hear, as a musician, you hear songs that sometimes don't like, or something happened during it that. Did you ever have one that you were like, man, I never thought that would have been as hot as it was?
Um, um, I can certainly think of a couple, but I mean, I don't, I guess that means, okay, for example, as soon as I get home, my single of my first album, um, yeah, I mean, in making that song, I was enjoying the creative process, but I was also going through a lot emotionally in my new marriage and my relationship. So, um, I can't say that I knew that was going to be a classic.
Yeah.
I was pouring my heart out. I was stacking those harmonies good, but
Hmm.
I didn't know it was going to be a classic song.
Yeah, and all your albums topped the Billboard charts when you did it. So I'm not just trying to say songs, in general, but I'm really curious on that, because I know there's people prep different and hear it different. And so, one thing I got to say is congratulations to all your success, because I mean, every time you release something, you top the Billboard charts, and that's not easy to do. I think people get a an idea in their mind that someone's a really good artist and does that, but even as a really good artist, it's not easy to do.
Well, I haven't done that every time, but thank you for the
The
compliment.
first
But
the first three, right? The first three though.
well, my first and I think all of my major label releases did pretty well.
Yeah.
Um, However, of course, I had a lot more commercial success. That was a whole time, and it was just all great. However, pretty much Grammy nominated and critically recognized, but at the same time, they didn't sell much. So being a good artist,
Yeah.
there's a lot of factors that go into those things these days, as opposed to back then.
Absolutely. Now, you also did a book. What
Yes.
was what was that like? I mean, because it's a completely different process from music, and then you know, have to think about, hey, maybe stuff you don't want to think about to put in there, and whatnot. So, what was that like, actually detailing yourself in the book?
Um, it was that there were certain times during writing my autobiography that I certainly had to put my emotions to the side, or my anger at how things turned out with certain. But to be quite honest, the person I chose to collaborate with me, Aaliyah King, she used to be a writer for like a lot of the top magazines. She actually wrote, I believe, the Vibe cover story, that the last Vibe cover story when my third album came out, and
Oh,
she
awesome.
where I'm from, and she just had a certain just vibe about her that I really like. So when I started thinking of collaborate with, I thought of her first because she knew a lot about. She knows where I come from. She knows a lot about what it's like to, you know, come from there, and she just seemed to be very unbiased when
Hmm.
did even the Vibe interview. You know, she did her job, but at the same time, I know I felt a certain energy that wasn't just that pushy. I'm being a messy journalist. She was very, you know, she cared about what I wanted to express as well at that time because there was a lot going on.
And
Um,
that's important. That's really important.
but being frank with you, I even in writing the book, there were certain things that I said to her. I'm gonna tell you the whole story, but everything ain't for everybody. So yeah, we might tell this story, but it's not my job to tell someone else's business or to tell what you know what they were doing at that place. All I can do is tell you what happened with me. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
so
yeah.
there's things that I had to be tactfully honest about because that's just how I am as a person. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I was actually I was pregnant with my last child, my son Ryder, and I was in the process of well, I had just decided I wasn't going to do another album with Capitol Records because they got bought out a couple of years after I did 2 albums with them, but they came out in the same year. But a couple of years after that, they were bought out. And my deal wasn't based on what it should have been or, you know, my standing as an artist. It wouldn't have been based on the same grounds that them signing me was based on because those people were gone. And I didn't feel comfortable.
Hmm. Now, I was going to say, was the anticipation different from? Can you hear me? You're Yeah, you're back. Think so. Can you hear me good? Let's see here.
Might be a great area.
IG. Can you hear me now?
I sure do.
Okay. Was the anticipation different waiting for the book to hit the shelves from an album hitting the shelves? Was it a different feeling?
Well, there's a whole nother story to that. With my book release, when when the when the companies finally the publishers have finally decided to release the book, it happened to be around the time that the Notorious movie was going to be released. And although they were two separate things, and my writing the book, you know, was just me deciding that this is what I'm gonna do since I'm not doing an album right now. I just didn't feel comfortable with the timing, and so I never toured. I never went on a tour to promote the book or anything. So, although I was excited for it to come out, I think my excitement was certainly dampened a little bit by the fact that I was trying to do the right thing with morally, and
Yeah.
just kind of not have people think I'm trying to ride off the coattails of the Notorious movie. You know what I mean? To promote my book. So, but it's still a cult classic. It's pretty popular and it won a couple of awards. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. No, it's definitely and quite an accomplishment too with everything you've already accomplished. I mean, it doesn't. It's not easy to write a book, especially about yourself, even with help, even with a co-writer. It's a tough
It
job.
took a while. It took the whole pregnancy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's a
Wow.
lot of work.
And we both were pregnant at.
Oh wow. We're getting cut out again. Let's see here.
We're
Can you
in
hear me?
LA
Or are we cutting
traffic,
out?
so
Okay, for sure. So, I did see a question on there. One of the fans asked if you ever thought about doing a gospel album. Did you hear me? Let's see here. I think we.
I didn't. I kind of want to wait a bit till I really feel like it's right and the situation is right. I don't know. I don't think it's the right time right now. I mean, right now is not the right time for me to do any album right this minute, but I think I'm gonna wait a bit.
Yeah, yeah. This 2020, I tell you, is been unprecedented So, it's tough. I mean, a lot of people having the show, they should be, they should be on tour, they should be here, they should be doing this. So 2020 has been an adjustment for everybody, regardless.
Mhm.
Absolutely. So what is, if you were to give any to advice, to artists coming up, what would be your advice to them? Taking into account, again, what we're talking about with technology, how everything's easier, what would be some of the best advice you could give them?
Man, I don't. To be quite honest, right? Given this current change in things, I would have to seriously think about that because that hasn't been.
You're cutting out for sure. Let's see if I can fix this.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Luckily, I am also a writer, so I'm able to have different revenue streams. I think that's certainly the most ideal situation as a recording artist is to also be a writer. So I think now I would say if you are not one, then you better learn how to be one because
Absolutely.
that's really that can be a lifelong revenue stream if things go well.
Well, because believe it or not, even though it's so easy, people don't look up what publishing is and what being a writer is and what, any of the main business part of the music. A lot of people don't ever even do the research on it.
Hmm. Oh, well, I mean, I guess in that I was a writer already before I was a recording artist. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I sang all my life, but like I said, writing and doing those things were a hobby for me. So it was just God's plan. That I was able to use it in the career that I didn't know I would have. But I was always, it's funny because I was just telling my husband the other day that I used to I met this lady that used to work for BMI when I wrote one of the gospel records that I recorded. And I remember walking it up to BMI, I got the address, and I had my handwritten.
You can still hear me, right?
So later on, when I got my record deal and was actually, turning in songs that were going to be released, she was laughing. She was like, "I remember you used to come up here," but she taught me basically a lot about how to understand the whole publishing thing. Her and my first attorney, Stuart Levy. So I've always been kind of on top of that part of it, even beyond the knowing what my record deal totally said. I made sure my splits was turned in
Yeah.
properly.
I mean, a lot of people call it the music business, but in reality, it's the business of music, and a lot of people don't understand that
Yeah.
part of it.
I mean, right now I don't
Absolutely.
understand it. It's become something else. So I think it's really a matter of being just gotta just really put on your thinking cap, and figure things
Yeah.
out and figure out how to finagle whatever little bit of something you have. If you have some eyeballs on you, you know, some ears listening, you
Yeah.
know.
I gotta ask, did you watch the verses last night?
I was actually on the road driving, but I tuned in for about 15 minutes and I made a little comment and had to get back to watching the road.
What did you think about it? As far as to see, wasn't that just amazing to
I
see?
their commercials were great, but
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was awesome. That they stepped into that arena. You know, and right, and that there's something like that. While people are paying a little bit more attention to pay homage to legends like them,
Yeah.
at least
That was
this
I
generation. everybody doesn't grow up knowing what good music is. I mean, I
Yeah.
know that.
Well, we talk about it all the time on the show. It's like my generation, we grew up listening to our parents' records, and we listened to everything: jazz, gospel, blues, rock. And so when we started doing hip hop, we incorporated all that into what we were doing. And this generation just kind of grew up to a certain type of hip hop or a certain type of R&B. So that's all they know. So it was beautiful to see something like that, because the younger viewers are watching. They are watching.
Right.
So I definitely, it was great to see legends. So absolutely. Well, I know you on the road and everything. So before we let you go, anything new that you got going on that you want the people to watch out for? Anything I left out that you wanted to talk about?
I mean, not so much. I mean, shout out to everybody who chimed in, who's on here today, to all my faithfuls, and to all your fans, and thanks again for having me.
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't say I'm not recording music at all, but it's just kind of just a little more sporadic than probably my fans would like right now. But everybody's going through something, and we have 10 children amongst us, me and this guy. So, and my 13-year-old is on the autism
Salute,
spectrum,
salute,
and
salute.
we've been dealing with a lot of the school system stuff, and just kind of homeschooling him. So that takes a lot of time and energy. So that's kind of been
I'm right there with you. I'm Mr. Mom, homeschool during the day, and studio rat at night. So I'm right there with you.
sounds like him.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for blessing us. Obviously, you have a home here whenever you need it. Anything you have going, anything you need from us, we're right there with you. We love you. You're still beautiful as ever. We still love your music like it was brand new, and we can't wait to see what's coming more.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I'm gonna DM you my number. I'll get your number from Kai.
Yeah. Get my number, and then anything you need, please don't hesitate to reach out for anybody. Just let us know.
Thank you.
All right. The one and only Faith Evans in the house. Salute, salute, salute. Let's see here. There you go. Salute, homie. I appreciate it.
God bless you.
All right. I think, there we go. Okay. Beautiful episode. What's the Word podcast? Man, how dope was that, right? I appreciate everybody tuning in. This will be saved. It will go on the website. It will go on to YouTube, and we'll definitely get it in. Obviously, there was a little bit of, technology as it is, but that's okay. We deal with that. What's the Word podcast? We'll be back on Saturday. I will have, I'll know who the guests are tonight, so I'll definitely let you guys know that. And Kai, I see you. Kai, send her my number. And yeah, that's the way it goes. What's the Word podcast? We will definitely see everybody next Saturday. For anybody that wants to go see Sincere, I'm gonna get at you too. I saw your message. 97. Thank you. Appreciate the interview, homie. I see you. Again, the replays you can go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'll be back on Saturday. You know what I mean? We'll be back. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Now I got to go back to the studio. So share it, subscribe. Every Saturday we have shows. So please, please, please tune in with me. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Nip. He behind me. My homie got my back right there. Lakers tomorrow. Lakers on Friday. Let's see what happens with the Clippers tomorrow. But it's What's the Word podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see everybody Saturday, 5 p.m. Peace.